Good morning, everyone. Today we'll look into a condition called obesity. Obesity is by itself is not a psychological disorder. We will look at some psychological disorders related to obesity at a later point, but just in a general sense, we look at what obesity is and what are the very briefly about what are the causes of obesity and what affects medical as well as psychosocial effects of obesity, and we focus more on the management of this obesity. So mainly the obesity is by definition, if we are looking at obesity, is the excess accumulation of fat in the body where above 20% of the standard weight, that's what we consider as obesity. So most of these young people, especially the teenagers, where they have this ideal size and shape based on the fashion and based on the friends' influence. So people who are shorter or people who are underweight, people who are not meeting their ideal weight size usually are the target of teasing and bullying, especially in the teenage years. So which affects on their self-esteem and their confidence levels. So looking at what looks good, the idea about what looks good often are influenced by various factors, like I said, fashion, friends and peer influence and all that. So this is what we are looking at, obesity. So obesity is more costly in terms of psychological as well as the physical health aspects wise. Looking at the causes are mainly we are looking at 10 to 15% of the causes are considered to be genetic and more of a hormonal kind of causes, endocrine disorders and disorders like hypothyroidism. These are the conditions, medical conditions might cause obesity, that is the 10 to 15% group. So 90% of the causes are idiopathic, where the cause is definitely not known. Here mainly we will look at more in terms of the psychosocial factors here. Increased intake of fat food. So generally parents who are usually people who by habit have the kind of increased fat diet consumption. Usually children prefer the same diet. As early as 3 years, this pattern is observed by research. So eating meals outside, at least one meal out of the 3 eating outside in the restaurants, especially taking high fat food, is also one of the reason for this increased fat intake. So increased fat intake where generally the research also shows that the preferences of the parents who are obese invariably are high fat food, preference for high fat food. Invariably children also start the habit or develop the food habits in the same line. So this is about increased fat intake, and side by side the decreased physical activity, where spending 4 to 5 and more hours of the time in front of TV by adults, more than 2 to 3 hours by children are considered to be as decreased activity levels with increased fat intake. So video gaming and all these kind of activities where the sedentary kind of a, sedentary is more in terms of immobile and sitting in one place for long hours, can also be one of the promoting factor for obesity. And other social factors, a little extreme side, are the neglect, abuse, and generally unsupportive home environments where there is marital discord or any other not normal healthy situations where children are mostly neglected. So food is a comfort factor for any one of us. So children, especially when they are stressed out, they look at it as more of a comforting, and then they start eating as a compensatory mechanism in dealing with the stress and anxiety because of the stressful home environment. So these are very briefly about the different genetic as well as psychosocial factors or predisposing factors of obesity. So looking at a little bit very briefly on the psychological disorder. There are two kinds of psychological disorders associated with the eating disorder. Obesity per se is not considered as a psychological disorder, but there are two conditions called, the first one is called anorexia nervosa. This is a condition where especially in girls, this is seen in adolescent girls, where they feel they are very heavy in weight while they are actually underweight. So they stop eating the food, and then they start wearing very loose clothes, and then they start telling that they are feeling fine. So it can end up more dangerous when they actually start missing their menstrual cycles, where ending up in completely anemic kind of situations. So this is about one medical condition related to eating disorder. The other condition is bulimia nervosa. So this is where they actually avoid the food, followed by binge eating or overeating of especially fat and the sugary food like chocolates and sweets. And then as a guilt factor, once they have done the binging, because of the guilt they start try to induce vomiting, or they try using laxatives in order to pull out the excess eating. So here usually they are of normal weight, but then it's more, all these anorexia as well as bulimia are mainly associated with the psychological stress, worry and pressures at school, and problems with adjustment issues with the school or friends, or in academic situations, problems in academics, or worries at home, stress levels, high stress levels at home. So all these, even depression can be a factor, anxiety can also be factor, where these teenage girls especially end up into these eating disorders. So this is in brief about the causes, very briefly about the eating disorders of psychological nature. Looking at the effects of obesity. So we'll again divide the effects into biological or bodily effects as well as psychological effects. So looking at many effects of childhood obesity usually manifest more as they are moving towards adulthood, and the physical effects, it affects a wide areas of bodily systems, heart problems, endocrine system, breathing and pulmonary issues, orthopedic issues, issues related to digestion and neurological difficulties. The most riskiest is the diabetes, where the obese children compared to the normal weight children, high insulin resistant diabetes, we call type 2 diabetes, where these high obese children are prone to. So sleep disturbances is one other biological effect, and then sleep apnea, where they might have an obstructive sleep apnea, unable to sleep in the night, usually interfering into their learning and memory functions, especially with the children, school going children. Looking at the orthopedic kind of issues, there's a hip and knee pains, altered gait, the walking style will change, and bowing of legs, where because of the excess weight, all these gait issues and high fat childhood diet may, also the research shows that there is a long term increase for the risk for cancer. So these are some of the biological or bodily effects of obesity. Looking at the psychosocial effects of obesity, so as I said briefly, the education and the peer adjustments, social adjustment, as well as in girls low marriage rate is also one of the effect. And then looking at the youth smoking and drug addiction, some of the factors are also associated with obesity. So high percentage of obese children usually become obese adults. Looking at other aspects, psychological aspects, the stigma, less desired by peers. Most of the peers prefer playmates who are more active and then less obese. Low self-esteem, generally kids at this younger age, low self-esteem, they will start disturbing their body image, and then it continues into their adulthood. They are more prone for teasing, they are more prone for more in terms of greater risk of low self-esteem issues, like I said, and parental worry regarding the child well-being and high depression and anxiety rates are observed in obese children. So this is about psychosocial effects and the as well as biological effects. Coming to the management will focus a little more detailed management. So the first step of management is the motivation to change. Very important, the readiness to change the lifestyle, because the main focus is on changes in the diet as well as exercise regime, and invariably the parental support is very important if the child is very young, because once an unsuccessful weight management program will not only diminish child self-esteem, but it also has it will impair the future weight loss efforts. So they might become demotivated to work in the future also. So it's important that the weight loss program is planned as a teamwork along with dietitian and then regular exercises based on the child's age. So as early as 2 years age, when the child is observed to be obese, as early as 2 years of age, the first and foremost concern should be on holding the weight increase, or further increase of the weight should be stopped by making active changes in their diet and activity levels. So the first and foremost step is the motivation level to change is very important, where a couple of sessions, if the motivation is very low, the couple of sessions are focused on enhancing this motivation. When both the parents are active, generally their children are 6 times more active. So this is what the research says. So looking at the focus on diet and exercise, the primary goal is not reaching an ideal weight, but developing a healthy eating and activity habits. So we are not working on an ideal weight of the child, but a healthy eating and activity habits that is more permanent and long term lifestyle changes. So as we discussed in the CBT, this eating and activity habits are learned behaviors, and hence there can be a change in their learned behaviors towards long-term benefits. So the first step, as I said, is the motivation. The second step is the modification of the environment. So there are important factors that as a family, as parent, that there should be some modification at a family level before actually starting the diet and exercise regime. So the first thing is becoming aware of the current eating habits and activity levels. The awareness is the first step. The second level is identifying the problem eating and the activity behaviors at a second level. Then modifying the current behaviors at a very small and steady progressive steps towards changing this diet and the activity habits. Last but not the least is the maintenance, the watching the behaviors and recognizing the problems, practical problems that are coming in as they are taking the program or as they are continuing the program. So it's also important that one should keep in mind that a behavior therapy is not only for the children, as well as the family involvement is very important. So the family or parental participation, generally the therapy requires long-term duration, nearing to 6 months to 9 months duration, frequent sessions, and mainly focuses on physical activity program by decreasing the sedentary behaviors, and then making changes in the home and family environment by decreasing the cues, CUES, cues and opportunities associated with the high calorie intake and inactivity, and increasing the cues of more physical activity. So these are some of the points that in behavior therapy one need to focus on. So maintaining and the relapse prevention, the support therapy, where mainly working on the psychological aspects of low self-esteem, and if there are other issues of depression and anxiety, other secondary issues, maintaining factors, any stressors at home or stressors at academic level or peer group need to be handled. So these are some of the counseling approaches. Looking at the medical approaches, most of the drug-induced weight loss occurs during the first 6 months and then it remains stable after that. So mainly the treatment is limited to less than 1 year. Weight gain, that is if one is unable to follow the instructions related to the exercise regime, in no time the lost weight is regained back. So the other procedures called bariatric procedures like banding or bypassing the stomach, very low calorie diets and protein sparing modified, all these diets might help to some extent to improve the self-esteem and social relationships, but the poor compliance with excessive complication rates has to be kept in mind and need more caution towards taking a decision towards these medical approaches. So looking back at the prevention is the best approach. So it's always better to prevent than worry about once the problem is face to face. So we'll look at very briefly about the points towards prevention. The teenage years are the years where there is high level of activity that happens in the body, and then they are more conscious about their appearance. So this is the time where a balanced intake of proteins and carbohydrates, fats, minerals and vitamin diet as part of their regular home environment is something that will be very helpful. There are simple rules that one need to follow for maintaining a healthy weight, but difficult to work through. The one thing is eating at a regular time, whether it's breakfast, lunch or dinner, and including more carbohydrate foods like bread, rice and potatoes with each meal, and eating roughly at the same time each day, Long gaps between meals might increase more hunger and the meal amount can be very high. So having sufficient sleep, avoiding especially sugary and high fat foods, junk foods like chocolates and soft drinks, instead looking more from the vegetable rolls and fruits, milk kind of products are much more healthy. Intake, taking regular exercise, walking and getting into any sport. Swimming is the best exercise for reducing extra weight. And last but not the least is, do not be too influenced by other people's comments by skipping meals or starting on these crash diets. Generally they are very dangerous in the long run, and too much exercise not a healthy way of thinning oneself. And laxatives might reduce the guilt temporarily, but they may not help you to reduce your weight. Instead they can be more harmful, and appetite suppressors can equally be harmful. So these are some of the preventive aspects that one can keep in mind and then work through. So thank you.